listening to precept on precept. Captain Shem break it down to no meat left. Line upon line in the word make you respect. History collegiate when we teach it, brains reset. You listening to precept on precept. Captain Shem break it down to no meat left. Line upon line, the word make you respect. History collegiate when we you listening to precept on precept. Captain Shem break it down to no meat left. Line upon line in the word make you respect. History collegiate when we teach it, brains reset. You listening to precept on precept. Captain Shem break it down to no meat left. Line upon line. The word.
We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a nonviolent Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Hey, Most High in Christ bless. Welcome to another edition of Precept Upon Precept. We are your host. I'm Captain Shem.
Officer Matthew.
Officer Mikael.
Officer Micah.
So, hey, Shalom. Shout out to IUIC. We got our new shirts in the house. I thought it was burgundy, but they like more of a red color, but they look good. They look sharp. So we're gonna have a new intro we're gonna work on. We're gonna have the tech team work on a new intro. Bring a new life to the show. All praise the Lord. We're going to start like we do every single, we're about to see the lion background. We're about to get that over there. The brothers sent it to Staples and they made it upside down. And we know that they did it. We didn't do it. But so we're going to have the lion background by the brothers over there. I know y'all say the dark brothers got a dark background. Hey, I didn't try to put in for it. Well, actually, they look sharp. That looks good with the doggone, with the red and the black back. Actually look good. All praises, all praises. Y'all sit there and say we got a segregated show. No, we don't. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. All right. Yes. Watchmen report. Officer Mike can take it away. Watchmen report. All praises.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless. Good evening. All praise to the Most High. These shirts are nice. They're very nice. Officer Mikael looking fresh over there. All praise, brother, look good. All praises. Yeah, without further ado, let's get to the Watchmen report. Me, I sure look better than mine. All right. Don't want to hold up the show. Let's go ahead and get it. Let's get it. Chicago Mayor Lightfoot refusing to pay speeding red light tickets as they pile up. So in Israel, we make sure we abide by the laws of the land. Don't let
Wait.
Yeah,
Is the mayor's name actually Lightfoot?
Yes.
He living up to the name.
Lightfoot.
Lightfoot.
No, this is a sister.
Wow.
Yeah,
She living up to the name. She ain't paying not a damn speeding ticket.
None. All right, next article, please. Send up prayers for our tech team. They work hard. It's a hard job. Got to get them tickets paid. Next.
I think they was shocked by Lightfoot.
I think they threw them off. Hold on. What? Lightfoot? No, Leadfoot.
No, Leadfoot.
Like, I'm going to get these tickets. I'm the mayor. All right, let's keep our family in St. Louis in prayer. At least one killed as record rainfall causes widespread flash flooding in St. Louis area. So let's make sure we're keeping our brothers and sisters that are in St. Louis in prayer. Like if they need help, let's make sure we're reaching out and making sure they're good to go. So definitely want to make sure our families in our prayers. All right, next article, please. 2-year-old was in back seat during road rage shooting caught on video, Texas cops say. So Most High turning it up. We got to make sure we're keeping the commandments because things are getting crazy out there in these streets. All right, last article, please. Flooding in Central Appalachian kills at least 8 in Kentucky. So just like in St. Louis, It's flooding in Kentucky. So let's make sure we keep our family in prayer. Make sure we checking on one another, all right? We communicating. So that concludes the Watchmen Report.
All right, shalom. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, go ahead and post that meme. The thumbnail rather. Excuse me. So I just want to focus on the title, the agenda. Make the book a weapon to this society. So we're gonna get into this today. All right, we're gonna get into this today. Let's start first with. I want to deal with critical race theory because a lot of times, and I've done it myself, we think that critical race theory is something that Esau is creating to go against our people. That's not true. Esau wants to put a stop to critical race theory. So critical race theory was started by people in the 70s that were concerned about patterns of covert and overt racism that took place in this society, which we know to be facts. Okay, all we got to do is look back to Jim Crow's 1865 Emancipation Proclamation. Then it was the Jim Crow segregation laws. Then it was black and white or colored water fountains. That was all the way up to the 60s and even in the 70s, even into the mid-70s with the busing of schools, even as far north as Boston, Massachusetts, and this when I was a boy. So it's not like we don't have the data. Let's pull up article number 1. I'm going to jump around. Hey, we always dog the TED team, but look, we usually get 10 to 15 articles, and they actually put it in order. So I'm going to give credit where credit's due. They do work hard behind the scenes. So we're not, we do give them some credit from time to time. All right. So let's start with article number 1. What is critical race theory and why is it under attack? So we're going to show you tonight that there is an agenda. There's always been an agenda. All right.
Yes, sir. Is critical.
So we can scroll up from the top.
Is critical race theory a way of understanding how American racism has shaped public policy, or a divisive discourse that pits people of color against white people?
So first and foremost, that statement alone proves that we're in a white society run by Caucasians. Because read that part again. Because let's keep in mind we're in 2022. If we go back to, let's just say we go back to 1975. So let's go back 47 years, right? In the mid-70s, there was still prominent racism because they were still going through bus. Do me a favor, tech team, in the background, I want you to look for Boston integration of schools because that's the most recent that's really kind of out there. The 80s is well, they used crack and everything to destroy our people, but that was when they were still open with it, all right? Go back to that statement again, please, that we just read.
Is critical race theory a way of understanding how American racism has shaped public policy?
Wait, stop real quick. You can leave it on the screen. Don't put it on me. American racism, public policy is American racism. You have the laws on crack cocaine are severely disproportionate to the laws on cocaine. I mean, look at the incarceration rates within regards to the black population in America and the black prison population. And that's in 2022. So there's no way, I mean, everything in this country is based upon race. This is what you're going to find out is a way because white people there's a thing called white guilt we're going to get to later. But there's a thing called white shame. And they do not want white people to have fragility. And it's bad for their psyches. All right. Read on.
Is critical race theory a way of understanding how American racism has shaped public policy or a divisive discourse that pits people of color against white people? Liberals and conservatives are in sharp disagreement.
Now, later on in the show, there's liberals and conservatives are in sharp disagreement. And I'm going to show you that they are in disagreement. But in the end of the day, I'm going to show you an example of liberals and examples of conservatives. and how at the end of the day they have the same agenda. And that agenda is to weaponize and stop the Bible. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove it tonight without a shadow of a doubt. Read on. We're going to do a little bit of reading tonight.
The topic has exploded in the public arena this spring, especially in K-12.
Now, stop real quick. And don't put it back on me. We're just doing some reading and talking for a little bit. Critical race theory has been in the media the last year or so, 2 years. It started decades ago. Critical race theory has been written about by scholars for decades. There's a reason why it's being talked about today. Read on.
Where numerous state legislatures are debating bills seeking to ban its use in the classroom.
Now it's making its way to the K through 12 curriculum, and there's a debate to ban it in the curriculum that teachers are able to teach. Now, here's the ironic thing. Can you all, I'm sorry, tech team, can you find Jimmy Has Two Dads? There's a book called Jimmy Has Two Dads. You can put the screen back on me real quick. So I'm going to show you how wicked and demonic this place is. They're going to try to take critical race theory, which is an analysis of things that have historically happened to black and brown people in this country. They want to take that out, but yet they want to enforce and not give parents the option to have books like Jimmy Has Two Daddies read in school. To have your boys dress up in dresses, you come in and challenge and you can't say nothing about it. I'm going to show you, man, this place right here is controlled by the liberal left, who has the LGBT movement, and the conservative right that want to protect their good white Christian values, meaning don't talk about my history. They're both at opposition to each other, but both of them want to stop the Bible. I'm going to prove it. It's so crystal clear. Play on and read on.
Now, I was going to say that too, Cap. It seems like when I was growing up, K through 12, it was okay to talk about the founding fathers and, you know, all of these great white people and, you know, this great white history. But as soon as you start to shed light, like, hey, also a part of that history, look what they did to our ancestors. Oh, no, that's you shouldn't be talking about that.
Here.
This is pitting people of color against white people.
Also, I remember the first time we got to like watch Roots, not the new one, like Roots. That it was like shock to us, like, cause like, oh, people really did this to us. We didn't know.
Right.
There's a book, if you type in American education, type in Jimmy Has Two Dads, maybe put literal work, or just put down DADS. So anyways, while you find that, so I used to be a teacher. This is why I know. You have to teach the curriculum that they put forth. So one of the curriculum is now, thank the Lord, I'm not a teacher anymore because I couldn't deal with the nonsense. I feel bad for some of you teachers who have to deal with this. If they say that you have to teach about an LGBT agenda, you have to teach that. But then if you have a class, my kids was all black and Hispanic. I worked in the inner city where we didn't have no white kids. The white kid in the class had to be rough as hell. The one little white boy in the class was rough as hell. He gets his ass whooped so many times that he was one of the little brothers. But nonetheless, he's still the damn devil, that little one too, by the way. So the theory of not being able to teach history to black and brown children in the very classroom they're in, but making sure that they understand that Jimmy has two dads, and it's okay if you feel like dressing in a dress, and encouraging that. That's what's going on in the classroom right now. I don't know why I went there. I went there because, okay, go back to the critical race theory. I went on a tangent because I wanted you to find Jimmy had two dads, but that's okay. Dex, same thing. Jimmy, Dexter, they're all the same. All right, so now, this is Dexter Has Two Dads. So, written by Donna Nicole, Nicole, right? Illustrated by Makita. I can't read that bottom part. So basically, what it is this is a narrative, okay? In schools, you have expository texts, which are nonfiction, like if you have the humpback whale or grizzly bears or whatever. How to knit a quilt. Those are nonfiction texts. Then there are narratives. This is a narrative or a fiction that they'll have that teaches a lesson, and they'll align this in a lesson. So this book would have a lesson with a series of objectives that the teacher wants to accomplish. What do you think the objections are for this lesson? The objections for this lesson are to teach that men with men are okay. It's a normal thing, and you're going to see that and accept it.
When you read
That's
the
what they
description, if you read the description of the book, it tells you all of that.
Look at the reviews that they gave.
Go to the description of the book. Right there, the overview. There you go.
Overview. One day at school, Dexter's friend laughed at his drawing of his family because it looks a little different. Soon Dexter realizes why having two dads is so special. Dexter Has Two Dads is a true story written to help young children understand divorce and different types of families.
Stop. Hold the hell up. Number one, this is what happens. So the divorce is that you had a man and a woman. And then that guy goes and decides that his family, because to have a child, you need a man and a woman, not two men and not two women. Then you have that child. There has to be either a never got married or you get divorced, and now you create a different family with two dads. It's teaching tolerance and acceptance, which, look, if our brothers, let me just say this, disclaimer. We got videos of lesbians coming up to us, cordial relationship, respectful, telling her, look, sis, we're not mad at you. You're wrong. This is what the law says. You got to change, sis. Just like you've got murderers and people that commit abort, they are in sin. They got to stop. And we got sisters crying, saying that they changed. So we are not against our people in that lifestyle. Matter of fact, we love them more than the people that they're laying with love them, because we're telling it's wrong with God. Now, if they don't change, we can't force you to change. If you don't change, that's between you and God. You don't believe in God? Okay, you deal with the consequences. Give me the law of Leviticus chapter 20 real quick. Verse 13, I want to deal with that, and then we're going to jump on, and I got to speed up a little bit.
The book of Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13.
Come on.
If a man also lie with mankind,
Okay.
as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them.
So, and as a teacher, if you're in there and you don't warn those children, see, that's why I couldn't be a teacher. It'd be hard for an Israelite man to be a teacher, because you are supposed to warn them that that's evil. Here you are. You got to teach that it's okay and that you're going to see that. And that's some of the challenges that the teachers are going to have. And that's why a lot of people walk away, because they don't believe that. A lot of parents are pulling their kids out of school because they don't want them subject to that sin that's being taught. That was it in that law?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, go back to the article. I'm going to get through this. We're going to get through this together.
Hey, Cap, I remember why you went there. You went there because it's acceptable for that sin to be pushed, but they're trying to remove our history from schools.
Yes. And that's the whole notion of critical race theory. Because later on, we're going to discuss white guilt and white fragility. And it's amazing because why isn't there a term called black guilt? Because what the hell do we have to feel guilty about? We are on the receiving end in the subject of the worst crimes in the history of mankind that are still being committed against us psychologically, spiritually, and physically in a lot of realms still. So you got something to feel guilty about, not us. You the one. And by the way, I don't give a damn how much. You could give us 40 acres and a mule. I don't give a damn about none of that. Okay, even if it comes down to that. You still got to pay for everything that they did, and we're going to show you the scriptures tonight. You can't escape critical race theory. Let me tell you what critical race theory is. I've already thought about it all day. Critical race theory is knocking on the door of the same people that are pressing you and asking them, hey, master, you don't mind if I talk about your history? No! God's justice is, I don't give a damn what you say. We're going, in the middle of this Babylon, we're going to cast down the lies no matter what you say. The prophets are going to speak out loud. We don't need your permission. That's why we don't come in your forms. You're not going to put us on TV because we're going to use the Bible. You're not going to put us in it because we're going to use the Bible. We're going to destroy your lives. And you're going to be forced to deal with your shame. You can't run from your shame and your guilt, but for so long. And we're going to show you that tonight. Back to the article.
The topic has exploded in the public arena this spring, especially in K through 12, where numerous state legislators are debating bills seeking to ban its use in the classroom.
Now, here's the thing. Leave it up there. So why isn't there this huge debate if we live in a conservative Christian society? Why isn't there bills in play to ban LGBT in the classroom? Because what you're going to find is that the same liberal left and the right, they are ultimately in agreement. They're ultimately in agreement. Okay? They're ultimately in agreement. And that's when they want to fight against the Israelites and stop the Bible. Read on.
In truth, the divides are not nearly as neat as they may seem.
Watch this.
The events of the last decade have increased public awareness about things like housing segregations, the impacts of criminal justice policy in the 1990s, and the legacy of enslavement of black Americans.
Right. Deuteronomy 28, that just summarizes everything. It's clear cut to the freaking core. Read on.
But there is much less consensus on what the government's role should be in the righting these past wrongs.
Right. Well, they already tried to say, they already promised 40 acres and a mule. They've already promised that they was going to do certain things, reparations. That's all garbage and all a bunch of damn BS. Read on.
Add children and schooling into the mix, and the debate becomes especially volatile.
Because they want white people, white children, to have be protected, and their psyches be free of any assigned guilt. Because any white person has any sense of objectivity, any sense of morality. If they look at history, they should be ashamed. They should feel like crap. But the reality is, there's not one, and I say this because I've searched. They don't have the Spirit of God in them. They don't have an upright spirit in them. That's why they steal and benefit from the theft and lies and thievery of their ancestors. Ain't trying to give nothing back. Not trying to give nothing back. Matter of fact, I was at camp. We was at camp teaching, and a white man walked by the camp in New Mexico talking about, hey, guy, on behalf of all white people, I want to say I'm sorry. So I called him. I said, listen, they say, man, hey, you seem like a pretty upright guy. I said, I never really met a white person in my life that truly will have an honest conversation. So they came over, we started talking to him, and then we started to deal, and he started to assign him that in Ireland, his people went through slavery. So I said, let me ask you a question. I said, are your descendants Caucasian? He said, no. So then after, I tried to give him the floor. He's a damn demon. He got mad, he left. But he came up saying, on behalf of all white people, I want to say I'm sorry. But then when you start to deal with him, he wants to act like he is a part of that. Because the Irish, where they was indentured servants, by the way, and they wasn't even treated as bad as the damn Japanese. And the Japanese weren't treated. They was put in little concentration camps for a little bit, and then they were free, and then they were paid. Just like the so-called Jewish, they were paid. And they sought out after, up to this day, over in Argentina and South America, trying to hunt down the Nazis to this day. You can't even compare it. Well, you were about to say something, Officer Matt.
No, I was going to say, if we go back to that article and hit bills, the thing that had the hyperlink underlined. I want to show you because they got a map, Cap, on where the bill has already been taken into action, where there are restrictions on teachers already.
Right. So that will probably be conservative states like Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas.
I perceive you to be a prophet, sir.
Let's see what they're talking about.
All the states that had the most slaves.
All the southern states. All of the southern states.
We have that.
It's in that same article.
Get me Habakkuk real quick while we wait for that. because what we're going to find is you guys, and I know that it's coming up, you know, some of us have friends that might have been Caucasian, but what we don't realize, what you fail to realize, what we fail to realize is the Bible talks about this. Habakkuk chapter 2, and let me see, chapter 2, let me see real quick. I want to start at verse 4.
Yes, sir. The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith.
Now you might say that's not talking about Esau, right? So let's go ahead and let's read verse 6 to prove. Come on.
Verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his.
This is how you know it's talking about the United States of America, so-called Esau, the so-called white man. What? China has the largest freestanding army in the world, right? How many Chinese embassies are there throughout the world? But then when you look at the American Caucasian in his United States Army, you have different branches of service. The U.S. Army is the largest. They have military bases in all parts of the earth, to include Antarctica. Then you have the U.S. Marines, they have bases all over. You have the U.S. Air Force, you have the U.S. Navy, you have the U.S. Coast Guard. They have bases all over everywhere, okay? So this is, and guess what? Guess how they got there? They conquered them and set shop up. How you think they annexed Hawaii and Alaska? Through bloodshed. Look up the history of Hawaii. The point is that this is talking about Esau. Go back to verse 4.
Verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
And God allowed him to be lifted up. When you read in Romans the 9th chapter, just like he raised up Pharaoh, he going to raise up Esau too. God is the one that lifted him up. God is allowing him to do these things. And guess what? His soul is not right. So listen, you could have these liberal, eclectic, fun-spirited Edomites. You pull back the curtains, have a conversation with them. You will not get through a conversation, okay, without some lies coming up. They're not right. They're all, I'm sorry, I have to be general. None of them are right. And that's what you're going to find, whether it's conservative or liberal. They put the black woman up, the LGBT, and use her face. The black man put his face up, and they accomplish their agenda on the liberal side and on the conservative at the same time. And they'll use them to push their agenda, but at the same time, they'll protect white interests and guilt and continue to procreate and protect their man, woman, and child. The elites don't push that LBGQ. They don't push that garbage. The elite whites, otherwise the white precious society would stop. They work together. Okay, you find that map?
So, Cap, if they're concerned about, how critical race theory will make their kids feel, imagine how regular American history made our kids feel.
Right.
Every year there's a new slave movie.
Exactly.
Every year there's a new slave movie, there's a new slave documentary. There's something on slavery, and it's geared to make black people, hey, you were once slaves, you were once slaves, you were once slaves. When we get out in the world, you get mass incarceration, you get messed with by police officers, you get racially profiled by normal people. Why do you think they got a movie called Karen right now? You know what I'm saying? There's all of this white superiority complex going on in the world, and this black inferiority complex going on. For those of us that don't know that we Israel, they have an inferiority complex. That's why they wear blonde hair. That's why they try to talk white. And when I say talk white, I mean try to talk about white people things. I don't mean talk proper. Talk about white people things. That black people as a whole don't talk about. Black people, we talk about how should we do our people to get better. White people are like, well, what are the Republicans and the Democrats doing? Well, what's the red states and the blue states doing? It's not us. It's the Republicans. It's the Democrats. They try to make it a political argument instead of what it actually is. Just like when people think of racism. When people think of racism, oh, you're a racist. They don't think of Asian versus African. They don't think of Samoan versus Chinese, or Arab versus anybody else. They think of black versus white. Topic of racism comes up, black, white, black versus white.
Right, and that's a good point. And that goes back to the whole notion of critical race theory. Is we all know this is our history. It's like you're gathering information to prove Esau, look, master, we got findings to show you that you're horrible. Can we talk about it? No, that's exactly what they're doing. And listen, why are states banning critical race theory? Because the World Wide Web and social media, it creates avenues of different audiences where before, when we was coming up in the 70s and 80s, you had NBC, ABC, you had a couple news stations in mainstream. Now with the internet, there's other ways that they can get the message out. They want to create laws and start in the schools to stop the message, the whole message in general. To make it, they want to create race by, we're going to get into a little bit. Go to article number 2. I want to speed up a little bit. Why are states banning critical race theory? And why now? Why in 2022, when critical race theory was started to be written about in the 1970s? Critical race theory was, and one of the men that I have a picture of was a black man. And they were attorneys that were studying patterns of racism at the institutional levels and seeing, look at all this stuff. We got proof, master. We want to talk about it. It's like, no. They could just say no. What you gonna do? Okay, number 2 article should be right.
So that wasn't part of their civil rights to bring up that argument in the 70s?
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Here's the thing. Them wanting to ban CRT is the same thing as when they want to tear down these statues. They're trying to erase their history.
Right.
They're trying to, basically it's, okay, we threw the rocks, now we're trying to hide our hands.
That's right.
That's what's going on with this. That's why they want to ban it, because they're trying to hide. But guess what? The Bible going to shine light on all the wickedness. And ultimately, that's what y'all want to do. Y'all want to attack the Bible.
Is article 2, is it because it's a paid subscription? If not, we're going to move on. Oh, there you go. All right. So we're going to kind of skip through this. This is, it's a black writer, Rashawn Ray and Alexandra Gibbons. Okay, so maybe we'll hear what they got to say. Why are states banning critical race theory? Let's read this.
Fox News has mentioned critical race theory 1,300 times in less than 4 months.
There goes those buzzwords. There goes the buzzwords. And when the what was it called? Weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction. And everybody talking about weapons of mass destruction, and doggone, they didn't even have anything over there. Read on.
And insurgents.
Right, insurgents. It's right. Read on.
Why? Because critical race theory, CRT, has become a new boogeyman for people unwilling to acknowledge our country's racist history and how it impacts the present.
Go ahead, Ray Sean. Ray Sean probably wrote that. Okay? I say you could tell, listen, you could tell a black person wrote that. Right? That right there, exactly. Read on.
To understand why CRT has become such a flashpoint in the culture, it is, I can't see behind the envelope. It is important to understand what it is and what it is not.
Right. So now critical race theory is something that is designed, and it's meant to be a way to make sure that black history and the problems of black and brown people are continued to be talked about. The concept of it is not a bad concept, but it still goes back to this. Master, I've been studying you since the 70s. We got a whole bunch of data. We did our job. We're trying to give it to you digestible. Do you mind if we talk about? No! That's exactly what it is. We don't need permission to talk about the genocide, rape, rob, lies, manipulation, theft of our history with you. We don't have to. The Israelites, we don't do that. God told us to come to cry aloud and call you out and expose the wicked for who he is. Matter of fact, give me 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. We don't need permission. You other doggone elite scholars, you Cornell West and you other brothers. Now, Cornell West is a little bit outlandish. A lot of these guys that are trying to come in the front door, get it in the schools, which they should keep doing that because having a little bit of history in schools is good. But we have to teach the whole truth. Like Bishop taught in Shout Out Tuesday. Okay, you talk about slavery, great. But what about from the year 250 to 1350, when all of the black ruling classes and beautiful black garments in position where we was in power in the Iberian Peninsula, which is Spain and Portugal. We was in England and all these different places where we were the upper class. When we ruled, we had great feasts and parties and garments and royal, the Knights of the Round Table. Where is that history? Okay? And guess what? The Israelites, we're gonna start making those movies. Like, shout out to Deacon Isaac. Started with Joseph Dreams. Small, that's nothing compared to what Deacon Isaac can do and the rest of these brothers. We're gonna start doing movies all like that, showing when we ruled over there. And that's gonna make our people feel powerful. That's why they demonize Krampus. There's a cartoon about the whole, what the hell is that damn thing? Krampus was one of the angels that the elves, but that signifies when we was whooping they behinds, okay? During the dark, when we was whooping they behinds, and they used that when they overcame us. And if there's a show called Krampus, Bishop went into that. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent, but read that. Yes.
Yes, sir. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3.
Yes.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed.
So that's what we're commanded to do. The man of sin is Esau. Esau's the one that is going to all these nations, started these wars, conquered people, stole their history, stole their culture and their identity, whitewashed their art. It wasn't just the Israelites he did it to. That's why he took off the nose of the Sphinx. The British took the nose of the Sphinx off because they didn't even like that, okay? And those are not your people, okay? The Egyptians are not your, they're your oppressors too, but Esau did it to all of them, okay? Read on.
The son of perdition, who opposed and exalted himself above all that is called God.
Right, and that's why he did things like paint the Sistine Chapel. Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci painted all this God and the finger of God being white and the angels being white and Caesar Borgia being the image of Jesus the Christ. All that crap is going to be destroyed and brought down. That's what we're doing. And they want to stop that. Because when you can disconnect slavery from the Bible, then it doesn't matter who Jesus Christ looked like. It doesn't matter what Moses looked like. It doesn't matter about none of that. And that's why our job is so very, very important. Okay? We don't need permission to talk about what you did. Read.
Or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God.
He is God. He acts like he's God. He sits in the temple of God, meaning what? That he's the Most High. He's the Pope. He's the Archbishop. He's the bishops. He's the reverends and preachers. And if you don't go to his World Council of Churches and National Council of Churches, if you don't go to his seminary schools, that you do not have the authority and the doctrinal authority to discuss the Bible. That's all fits into all that. Read on.
Showing himself that he is God.
And he's not God. He's the devil the Bible speaks of. He's the deceiver of the planet Earth. That's why he pushes LGBTQ movement on elementary school children, but yet won't allow to talk about what happened to the Native Americans on the Trail of Tears, because white boys will be offended. What happened on chattel slavery? Are you kidding me? This is why our job is so important, brothers. Never take your job for granted. Okay, read on.
Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things.
Right, and Paul, and that's why he wrote mysteries in the New Testament, because he was dealing with Rome. And that's why you dumb pastors don't understand it. He wrote in mysteries. Okay, he wrote in letters. He wrote in code sometimes. And if you're not in the spirit, you won't even pick up on this. He's talking about the last days. Just like Isaiah in Isaiah 14 was prophesying about the last days then. Just like John the Revelator was talking about He leadeth into captivity. He goes back in Revelation and talks about Esau when you read down. Okay? Read on.
And now ye know what withholdeth that he might be revealed.
That's it on that. That's it on that. Go back to the article real quick. I'm super slow. Let me speed up.
To understand why CRT has become such a flashpoint in this culture, it is important to understand what it is and what it is not.
Come on.
Opponents fear that CRT admonishes all white people from being oppressors while classifying all black people as hopelessly oppressed victims.
So opponents fear that it's going to make like strong white people with great values like, look, we don't want black people to feel like they're victims. And at the same time, it makes us feel like we're all terrible people, right? That's one argument, right? Which is, number one, we are victims, and we got to stick together and come together with this Bible. Number two, every one of you Edomites has a role to play in that. Because you want to know why? If you really was against what your parents, you're still going to go into slavery. You would turn over all the stolen property, starting with the tribe of Gad. We would know black people would have to work in this country, okay? You would pay us the equivalent of today's standard, 40 acres and a mule, which due to the standard of an acre of land and a mule, which we don't have mules today, so it will be, let's say, for example, it will be like a house. You'd have to give every black person a livelihood and then pay them like you would pay somebody every month to live off of what you did. You'll never do that. You'll never do that. You have a hard time even apologizing. Friggin' national banks apologizing. You're crazy. The Catholic Church want to apologize for what they did in Canada to Native American, how they slaughtered them.
And
crazy.
They would have to pay 100 million life insurance policies worth of death for Gad, well for Judah coming across the Middle Passage, and 77 million life insurance policies for Gad.
Right.
That's what they would have to do. Jump off rip. Then 40 acres and black people would have to have a say-so in what's going to happen to you.
Right. They have to be able to stand before their people that have done them wrong and to be able to have a role in the judgment that happens to them. Because if you steal a man, you got to pay for that. And that's why the only judgment that's going to happen is going to be what God. We're going to read about God's judgment. And this is why they hate the Bible. Because it shows them who they are. Where this whole critical race theory started is to really pick up steam. Is when you had your Mike Browns, your Trayvon Martins, your Eric Gardners. You have the other brother, George Floyd. All these things were caught on camera. Undeniable. They didn't have to do that to Eric Gardner. Dude was a big dude. Yo, just put him in handcuffs and sit him down. Like now they're showing you, Rodney King. They have it on film. Now you can't run from that. Now they're like, okay, we got to do something about it. That's where all the Black Lives Matter started. All that BS started. And underneath that, they said, well, listen, let's do this, but at the same time, we'll do the LGBTQ movement, and we'll use that to push that agenda. And then the conservative right, well, we want to get the Bible out. At the same time, the conservatives in the agenda, they're going to still allow the homosexuality and that to happen and still protect white interests the whole time. It worked together, and the one thing that shuts both them down is Isaiah 14, verse 2, Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13, okay? Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4. All that shuts this garbage down. That's why and we're going to go into it, they're going to weaponize the Bible to the point where they're going to try to make it illegal to be read in public. You mark my words. Bishop has talked about this for a long time, okay? This is why when Paul said whatsoever thing was written aforetime, there was a time when the Maccabees had to choose, listen, if we fight on the Sabbath, we got to be out because they was willing to stand for the laws of God. They was on the run. Now, I hope it doesn't come to that, but I'm just letting y'all know this is where they're headed. They're going to make this Bible seem like it's a weapon against mainstream society. You got to stop it. And by any means, both from conservative rights, it's hurting our white psyches of our children and the LGBTQ. And I'm telling you, it's an evil, evil system that's set up here. That's why Babylon got to go. Babylon got to burn. by the hand of God, not by us. Okay, you about to say something? Somebody about to say something. All right, just go back to the article. We're going to speed up.
These fears have spurred school boards and state legislators from Tennessee to Idaho to ban teachings about racism in classrooms. However, there is a fundamental problem. These narratives about CRT are gross exaggerations of the theoretical framework. The broad brush that is being applied to CRT is puzzling to academics, including some of the scholars who coined and advanced the framework.
Right, because the scholars that created that wanted to be able to be talked about in the classroom, but you can't. What they're realizing is you have to keep some sort of objection, being objective. You can't just push. You have to be able to teach both sides, and that's what they're fighting with inside their scholarly circles and the administrative boards.
Hey, Cap, that's probably why a lot of these history books are thousands of dollars right now.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can't teach, you can't look at the history that they themselves wrote if you can't afford it.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense on why, you know, when Bishop brings out a book, it skyrockets from $40 to $4,000. And then you got critical race theory that's going on. And now they're going to skyrocket all of the books that they think may be used for them, or they're just going to stop printing them all together.
Right. Look, real quick, before the break, I want you to pull the video of video number 4, because I'm going to show you. Remember, I made a statement earlier that the conservative right, and the liberal left are at odds. I'm going to show you an example where they're at odds, but how the Bible is going to make them, even though they're going to appear to be at odds, they're going to work together. Video number 4, entire police force resigns in protest of a black female town man. It's a true story. It's a true story. I had to look at multiple sources to make sure I wasn't giving fake news here. And a white man can get away with this. He can do whatever the hell he wants. Number 4.
Police department has resigned. Ironically,
now real quick, let me show you something.
This
dude right here, this guy right here is super left. I believe he is a man that lays with other men, or he at least is an advocate and proponent for that lifestyle. I don't know the brother's personal lifestyle, but I know he is one that supports that in public policy. Now, I'm going to set the framework. The whole staff resigned because a black woman who is deemed progressive as a town manager has come aboard, and now all of these, I believe they're all Caucasian, they resign at the same time in protest to it. Shows you that Esau work together. They got the same mind. But let's play. Yes, sir.
That sounds like they had a KKK meeting, and one dude like Clinton Bigsby takes his hat off, and like all the white boys like, oh, we got a nigger in here. We got to quit. We can't work for him. That's what it looks like.
Right. Go ahead, Mikhail. Go ahead.
That's what it is.
And this is where you would think that the guy that's reviewing this black man, is so righteous. The reality is, like I said, there's two agendas here, and they both are at opposing ends, but in the end, they both want to stop the Bible. Play on.
Resigned because the city manager, the new city manager, is progressively responsible. And because she is progressively responsible, according to every police officer in this city, they are under a hostile work environment and they cannot perform their functions. Let's put up the picture of her and the chief. See, there it is right there. Black female becomes the manager of a town in North Carolina, and literally within days, ladies and gentlemen, within days, the entire police department resigns. All of them. Not one left.
Now, real quick, there's only 7 of them. Don't think that there's like 80 of them. There's a task of like 7 or 8 of them. The point is, when I first saw this, the first thing I said, man, is Esau's the damn devil, and which we know part of it's true, that they don't want to have a black boss. But I'm going to tell you right now, when they said progressive, that's why they put the black woman up. Because there's a LGBT movement. I'm going to tell you one thing them white boys have in them Christian towns is they want husband, wife, and they want that in their town. That black woman comes in, and I'm against our people being in positions of state, local, and different levels of government, and that's good. But when they say progressive, there's more to it that would make Esau resign. And I'm gonna show you that they're at opposition. You're attacking their white standard of living, but there's more behind this black woman. There's an agenda behind what she comes with, and the LGBTQ uses black people, and now they're racist against her. So now they can creep on in under that cover. It's a military tactic. You use covering concealment. Like Bruce Lee, when he dressed up as the janitor, went in and they didn't even see him coming. It's war.
So the black woman is the LGBTQ's Trojan horse.
Yes. That's recon. That's their recon. Send in your recon to scout out, find out what's going on. And then you bring your Trojan horse right behind it. I'm telling you this, for them to do that, and guess what? It also shows Esau is together. I guarantee you they had arguments in the office, but at the end of the day, we're all going to come together. And it shows you Esau is unified. They are unified. And guess what? We got to be unified in Christ as the 12 tribes of Israel. So, player, we're about to go to break after this. Play on.
All right. In protest of a newly appointed, progressively responsible town manager in North Carolina, the entire police force has turned in their 2 weeks' notice because of their alleged hostile work environment. The New York Post reports that Kinley, that's the name of the city, police chief Josh Gibson. All right, let's put that picture up again so you'll know who Josh is.
Pause it real
that's
quick.
Josh.
And I had to check some demographics real quick. So the town of Kinley, North Carolina, has about 35% black. The total, it's about half Israel in that town. When you take the Hispanic and the black population, Native American, it's almost 50%. So the population of the town is almost half Israelites, right? Unaware Israelites. And so what you're going to find, and I believe all of the police force was white. I could be wrong. But for all of them to just decide to resign, again, there's something behind. But the way they try to put it is it's a black-white thing. It's not. There's something more behind that. They're allowing this woman because she's backed by a whole movement that's trying to infiltrate this country's values and destroy husband and wives and destroy the black American family, destroy the Native American, destroy the Latino family. Okay, and it's systemic. All right, that's why they want to stop critical race theory. They want to stop race and history being talked about, and they want to do what? Like Mikael mentioned, Officer Mikael, you tear down the statues, you stop critical race theory, but at the same time, on another front, guess what you're doing? You're going in and you're destroying the black family because you're making now men with men and women with women an absolute normalcy. Meanwhile, the far right, which is the whites that control everything, they got to keep their genes going. They don't get involved in that. They allow that to go on. Okay? Go back. Actually, that's it on that. Let's go to break. We got to go to break. Stay with us, y'all. Hey, you listen to the Precept upon Precept. It's Thursday. We're getting ready to go to break. Y'all stay tuned. We got a couple more articles and videos to go into, and I'm going to show you something at the end. So y'all stay tuned, and our tech team is about to take us away, or we got time for more scriptures.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel with an update from IUIC TV. We are now offering exclusive content on a monthly subscription. For the first time ever, exclusive content will be available to you for only $1.99 monthly fee. That's right, for only $1.99. You'll be able to enjoy all the up-and-coming original content from IUIC. Short films, documentaries, TV shows, and more. You don't want to miss this. The exclusive content is not available through the app. You'll need to
I want to sing y'all a brand new song I just wrote called Don't Trust Them New Niggas Over There. I said to all the members of First Church of the Lord Jesus Christ and all Truth to God followers, do not, and I repeat, do not get online arguing with the Hebrew Israelites or any other organization. Sing along if you know the words. Don't trust them new niggas over there, leaving they nigga essence in the air. If you see them in the neighborhood, don't take no literature. None. Them happy, nappy head niggas with the fingers on the trigger. Don't trust them new niggas over there. One of my brothers was so hard here, and I laid him out. He called himself challenging and tried to debate the Hebrew Israelite brethren, and they broke him to pieces. Yeah.
All right, welcome back to Precept Upon Precept. We are talking about how they're going to weaponize the Bible. They want to start with critical race theory, so you cannot talk about it in the schools. And what it's going to lead to is bringing, at the same time, you have the LGBT agenda it's taking place starting at the educational level of the elementary school all the way up. And by doing that, you create no history for them to have, for our children to have a base when they wake up to this Bible. Now, I'm going to show you what it's going to lead to. Get me article number 2. 2 black girls were charged with a hate crime. 2 black girls charged with hate crimes. This is amazing. And this is actually was talked about with regards to hate crime. Get me the book of, while we wait for the scriptures, get me the book of Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 2. Because what would cause a people to do all this evil to another group of people, meaning the 12 tribes, Native Americans, Black Americans, Jamaicans, Haitians, all the 12 tribes, and then not too far, decades after, not allowing them to learn about what happened. What would make a people that sit in these positions of power actually allow that? And this is the reason why. Because they've always hated you. They don't like you. Ezekiel 35, verse 2.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 35 and verse 2. Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir.
Mount Seir, you're going to find out that represents the nation of Esau, or the Edomites, the so-called white man today, whether he goes by Dutch Caucasian, German French, British, Polish Caucasian, or even Argentinian or Mexican Caucasian or American Caucasian. That's who it's talking about. Read on.
And prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus said the Lord God.
Right, and that's why we're out there telling that, listen, not only we're not going to ask you for permission, we're going to stay in the Bible. We're going to trust in the Lord, our God, that he's going to fight for us and defend us and make a way for his truth to continue to push on. Read on.
Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel.
Read that verse 5 again, please.
Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred.
It is perpetual, meaning it is ongoing and continuing. It's never going to stop. And that's why you brothers that put your trust in your enemies, you're always going to fail. That's what we tell, we on the streets. Hey, listen, if you like light skin, hey, you marry a Issachar sister, okay? You want you brothers want to marry a Judite sister, marry a Levite sister. The 12 tribes of Israel, we have to stay within our race. And that's why they want to disassociate you from a race by erasing your history. Read on.
and has shed the blood of the children of Israel.
How did they do that? When you didn't bring enough diamonds on the island of Puerto Rico or jewels, they cut your hands off. Okay? They branded you with Mr. the J for Johnson Plantation. Okay? They killed you and threw you over the ships. Okay? In the transatlantic slave trade. They murdered your forefathers in cold blood. Then they built churches on them and courthouses and have the audacity to tell you you should learn about what they did to you in less than 40 years ago. That's what you're dealing with right now. Read on.
By the force of the sword, in the time their calamity, and in the time that their iniquity had an end.
So one day the Most High, we read in 2 Thessalonians, the wicked's going to be revealed, and one day God is going to make everything right. We have to keep the faith, keep the commandments, and our God will fight for us. We're not going to take up arms. The only arms we're going to take up is this Bible, and this Bible is a weapon. Matter of fact, get me that Book of Eli clip. I'm going to segue right into it. The Book of Eli was powerful for two reasons. Number one, Denzel was the poor and oppressed, right? He was blind, and he was black, beautiful. And the oppressor was trying to say that he wanted to take the Bible and share with everybody. And he was trying to destroy the Bible because he understood if that got into the right people's hand, and then they could bring law and order back. He wanted to rule by force. Okay, that's the same way Esau represents today. And this scene, I don't know if we have to put a copyright thing up, whatever, but all right. Y'all seen, if you haven't seen the Book of Eli, check it out. There's a lot of meaning in this book, right? This book is our book. The Book of Eli represents the book of us. We're the Israelites. Play it. All right, so once we get the volume going, this is a great movie. Y'all got to check the Book of Eli out. It's a very good movie.
It's on Netflix right now.
All praises. Hey, you need a little bit of time, tech team? All right, let's go ahead and play that. We're running out of time.
Fucking book.
Pause. Sorry. Excuse the language, y'all. I couldn't find the clip without the swears. Forget the language. Plug your children's ears if the kids are watching. This is the F word, all right? But it is a book, a movie about the Book of Eli, which is actually the Bible. And I'm not going to say what the Bible was, because then I give the movie away. Read.
It's a weapon! A weapon aimed right at the hearts and minds of the weak and the desperate. It will give us control of it. If we want to rule more than one small fucking town, we have to have it.
Now pause real quick. So what he's saying is he doesn't want anybody else to have the Bible, but if he has it, then the people will look at him as he is God. And that's exactly what the white man did. They were smart. They said, you got to understand something. From, let's say, 200 to about almost 1400, black people ruled. They had positions of nobility, black princes and kings and knights, and black balls with beautiful black women in dresses and long and jewel-encrusted cups. Black, that's what listen, if y'all movie makers, we need all that. Black Panther was great, that little bit, yeah, whatever, Wakanda, blah, blah, blah. I want not spaceships. I want to see movies with black men sitting down, planning stuff out in the year 1215. That's what we need to see. That's going to increase our faith. But anyways, that's what we had. And guess what? During that time, we was using the Bible. And the Lord let us stay in power for a little bit of time. As soon as we fell off, the Lord rose up Esau. The Renaissance came. He destroyed our image, destroyed our books, and the rest is history. Like Jaguar. He got a rude awakening in that movie, doggone Apocalypto. They had a whole system of governance, the Azteca, the Maya, the Inca. And when them bastards came, he knew he was at the end. He was running through the jungle. He comes to the shore, and he looked, and he just dropped something. And he looks, and Jaguar knew this is the beginning of it. He knew it. His spirit knew it. Okay? So, anyways, just play the thing again, please.
Fucking book.
It's not fucking book. It's a weapon. A weapon aimed right at the hearts and minds of the weak and the desperate. It will give us control of it. If we want to rule more than one small fucking town, we have to have it. People will come from all over. They do exactly what I
Pause. I got to say this. And that's why what amazed me, right? This is Esau. Because he knew that when he came out of the Dark Ages, in order for him to rule, you had the Portuguese, the French, the Spanish, and they started to war. The Dutch, there's a cigar that the dumb Negroes in the ghetto smoke called Dutch Masters. You dumb nincompoop. Dutch Masters came, and the Dutch were one of the first ones, okay? The Dutch, the French, Spanish, and the Portuguese, in order for them to rule in these different lands, they had to portray themselves as God in Christ. And that's why they came with Apolwato. They came and they said, you got to bow down to him. And he said, I would rather burn, I'd rather die in hell than to bow down to that. They used that. This is what this represents in this movie. He's like, we need this. This will change the hearts and minds of the people. And that's what they fear today. Because we're casting down this. Joseph Dreams just cut all that crap down. Now, eventually, that's going to get out. Wait a minute. There's a movie that looks professionally done that shows Joseph and Mary as black, and it's on the big screen. Whoa. This is a different way to look. And as we begin to make more movies about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and all these other movies from the Dark Ages, now there's history that we got proof with the books. Now we make cinematography. We make it the big screen. Now we give our people, and guess what? That gives them hope. And then will start to read the Bible. And that is what they fear most of all. That's why these apologetics are trying to use these little corny kumbaya black men out there to go and push their agenda, because they're trying to break up Deuteronomy 28, which makes the connection. And all that's history. You can't debunk history. They're just trying to get some of the weak ones to disbelief and scatter the sheep. Okay? Play the rest of that.
Words are from the book.
It's happened before, and it'll happen again. All we need is that book.
So that's what they did. They used the Bible. They used the Bible. And that's my point. I almost forgot my point is, brothers told me when I was in Africa that everywhere you go, there's a white image. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I find it hard to believe that in an all-black country. So as I'm there, I'm in Kumasi. I'm in Accra. I had the privilege to travel with Bishop years ago. Damn, it was 6, 7 years, long time ago. Every place we went, and I mean every place, there's white Jesus everywhere. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. In an all-black country, there's white Jesus and everywhere. And that's what that did. Now you got black people in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Senegal, who will fight you if you tell them Jesus is black, and they will fight against you like they did to our brothers over there. That's the power of them taking control of the people's minds with that book. And that's what he wanted to do in the Book of Eli. Now, Eli represented the Israelites. And that's why our job is very, very important. Now, I know I'm jumping. Let's go back to the article about the girls that are accused of a hate crime against a Caucasian woman. And this is exactly what they're going to do. They're going to say that we're inciting hatred against Caucasian by telling them about themselves. That's why it goes along with the critical race theory in protecting the white image, protecting white children's psyche so they don't grow up with a complex of being ashamed of themselves, which they damn sure should. Being guilty, you should feel guilty. All of them things. You got that?
2 black girls were charged with hate crimes after allegedly hitting a woman on a bus and making anti-white statements, police say.
We're going to read right through.
You don't see now.
2 black girls have been charged with a hate crime after the New York City Police Department says they assaulted a white woman and made anti-white statements, according to a Tuesday news release from the...
I'm sorry, but This story, I'm pretty sure, is lacking a whole lot of details.
Yeah, that's why they left it all off.
I mean, a white woman getting beat up by two black girls. I'm quite sure through all of the, I mean, they say critical race theory came from looking at patterns of racism, right?
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure by looking at the patterns of white women's behavior in the past 4-5 years, she was probably deserving of it. She just got her ass whooped by two black girls, and
they probably stood up for themselves.
Exactly.
And these damn devils, man, they talk a lot of crap. And probably the sisters probably got tired of hearing it. But like again, it's a narrative, and they're gonna try to link it back to the Israelites because we tell them that the wicked must be revealed. That you put us in slavery. The Bible bears record. And you got to pay for the crimes that you're for, not from us. God going to make you pay. And they don't want to hear that. So they're going to use this. That's why they try to use the whole thing when the thing that happened with the Muslim guy that stole it was a couple years ago. And they try to, even though he wasn't an Israelite, he was a Muslim guy, they try to put that on the Israelites. Okay, as they with the Jewish, they attacked a Jewish so-called Jewish man. And by the way, it's wrong to attack anybody. You shouldn't attack anybody. Jewish, Chinese, black, your own brother. You shouldn't do that. That's wrong. The slavery we went through, it was our fault. We broke the commandments. We have to serve it. We're still serving our sentence out. But we that are faithful are going to keep the commandments, be upright citizens, be at peace with all men as we can. And when the time comes, God's going to fight for us. You're going to be revealed. I'm talking about Esau. And you're going to pay for the sins of your forefathers, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's the Bible. Just like there's nothing we can do about bus boycotts. Nothing we could do about going into slave ship. Nothing you could do about Jim Crow and sharecropping. We couldn't do nothing about that. You had us. Cool. You had us good. Now we're going to talk about it, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's not unrighteous. That's biblical.
That's right.
It's biblical. Mika, you about to say something. Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure about 30 seconds before the first fist connected an N-word slid out her mouth.
I was thinking that also.
I'm about 95% sure.
Well, Tanisha, you know how they get.
Well, that's what they say all the time. You're just a nigger. Mm-hmm. Black people know how to snap on people. You know what I'm saying? We can come with the jokes for days. And then they'll sit there and they'll take it. And as soon as they get hurt enough, well, you're just a nigger.
Yep.
Right. Why do they say that? Because that's what their parents taught them their whole life. Well, don't worry about them. Those are just niggers. You don't have to worry about them. They are no threat. They're more than likely to kill each other before they kill you. Come on now. We understand it. We see it. Look at who they signed for these doggone record deals. Mm-hmm. Look who they giving the limelight to.
Niggers.
You don't think that they had an Edomite I was in the military with. He was from Idaho. He had never physically been around black people a day in his life.
Had one like that from Oregon.
Yeah.
Never been around niggas.
Never, not one time. The first time he was around black people was basic training. And then he came with the whole, racism thing. Till one of the dudes beat his behind up and then forced him to watch American History X. Didn't have no more problems out of him after that. But still in all, it's like, though he was never around them, he still had that racism instilled in him because that's what they teach their children. But then they get upset when we teach our children who they are. I let my daughter know straight up, that's Esau. They call themselves Caucasians today, and they are bad people. Look what they did. See how they did that? You see what they did over there? Is that right? She say, no, exactly. We need to stay away from those people.
Hey, real quick, can I get Malachi 4? Malachi 4 and 4. Because this is what they're afraid of right here. This is why there's this whole ban critical race theory. This is why they don't want to talk about the color of Jesus Christ. This is why they don't want to talk about the color of the Israelites. Read that.
The book of Malachi, chapter 4 and verse 4. Remember ye the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb, for all Israel with the statutes and judgments.
Read.
Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet.
You will send who?
Elijah the prophet.
Eli. Read.
Oh, yeah, Eli, I'm sorry.
No, it's Elijah.
Oh, yeah, Elijah.
But Eli, like the book of Eli.
Yes, sir.
Read.
The prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse.
The heart of the children, meaning your minds back to the heart of the fathers, the Bible, meaning Elijah's going to come and teach you the truth and teach you who you are and turn you back to your book. That's what they're afraid of. That's what this whole ban critical race theory is about. That's why they want to erase their history. They're trying to disconnect themselves from this Bible and the history that's in this Bible that was prophecy that came upon us by their hand through the Lord.
That's right. That's right. Go to that Brookings article, right, where it says why are states banning critical race theory. Yeah, you should probably have it up. And I would like you to go down to where the paragraph, it says scholars and activists who discuss CRT are not arguing. So I believe it's more like midway down, maybe the fourth paragraph. All right, scholars and activists. We're gonna read that.
Scholars and activists who discuss CRT are not arguing that white people living now are to blame for what people did in the past.
Now stop. Now, okay, great. I'll suck it. You personally didn't put our forefathers in slavery, but we know that. Guess what? Just like we had to pay for our crimes, Isaiah 14:21. We got to get it. You're gonna pay for the sins of your fathers, and in order to keep our prophecies fresh in people's mind, we got to talk about your history, and they want to stop that. So now watch what they say next. They are saying, it says to blame for what people did in the past. This should be there.
They are saying that white people living now have a moral responsibility to do something about how racism still impacts all of our lives today.
So if you're going to talk about racism today, you have to make the connection to the fact that we were slaves. We came out of Jim Crow in the 1970s. We had an issue where little black girls going into Boston schools were doggone sweared at. Things were thrown on them by grown white people. This was during my lifetime. So what are you talking about? We have to be able to talk about these things. And part of that white moral responsibility, shut your ass up. We're going to talk about you because you did that to us. God allowed you to do that to us. And that's something just like if you're going to allow them to talk about LGBTQ and Jimmy has two dads, but you trying to tell me that you can't teach about why George Floyd got killed. You don't think them kids out of state teachers? Why did George Floyd get killed? Why didn't the cop do something about it? You tell me the teacher can't answer that? And she has to be quiet? But then she can go, well, Jimmy had two dads because and then she goes into all of that because it's part of the curriculum? Are you serious? This is how you know in Revelation 18, verse 4. Come out of her, my people, because her sins have gone to heaven. This is some evil, wicked stuff that's going on here. Y'all who are spiritual better see how evil and demonic this place truly is. Whether you're conservative right, they want the Bible to stop. Don't talk about history. We want our white moral values. And if you're the liberal left, don't talk about man shall not lie with mankind. Don't talk about cross-dressing. Men dress things, but don't talk about that. Don't talk about marriage is honorable and how that the history of marriages with them. Don't talk about that. They have opposite agendas, but they work together to stop the Bible because the Bible shuts them both down. Okay? Read on.
Policies attempting to suffocate this much-needed national conversation are an obstacle to the pursuit of an equitable democracy.
Come on.
Supporters of CRT bans often quote Martin Luther King Jr.'s proclamation.
So the white man who wants to stop it, it will use MLK in the speech that they always go to, not the one where he said, I feel I have failed my people for leading them into a burning house, because that's what he realized at the end of his life. And that's also Malcolm X realized at the end of his life they were the Israelites, and they were afraid of King and Malcolm coming together and leading our people as the Israelites. That's why they killed them. Read on.
Martin Luther King Jr.'s proclamation that individuals should be viewed by the content of their character instead of the color of their skin, ignoring the context of the quote and the true meaning behind it.
So they're saying now, wait a minute, slavery is over. That was a long, even the bus boycotts is over. Just because my forefathers had you in slavery, don't judge me because of my white skin. Don't assign that guilt and shame to me. Judge me by my character. No, you're all evil. You all benefit from the insurance policies. When you go to work, you ain't got the same stress as we do. When there's a cop behind you, you thinking he's here to help you out if you have a flat tire. Not you get your stomach start to turn. Oh, shoot. First thing we do when we say, well, shoot, I ain't speeding. I got my registration is good. I ain't got. These are things that go through my head all the time. I'm just telling you. I mean, I wish I didn't have to think like that. And they don't worry about these things. This don't apply to you. Yes, we can judge you on that because it's a bunch of damn evil. And it continues to happen to this day. The fact that you actually have opposition to critical race theory proves our point. Mm-hmm. It proves the point. You are the deceiver that the Bible, you are perpetual evil. That's why, you know what I do like as a white person will come up to you and say, I don't like you nigger. Never like you niggers. And I'm like, hey, thanks, man. At least I know why I stand with you. At least you honest. I respect a white man like that. Or a white man that come up and tell you in your face. Okay, not these liberals that talk crap behind your back, talking about they're pro-black, and they got an agenda to try to use the pain of racism to push their garbage agenda. And you silly blacks fall for that crap, and they use you as a doggone poster child and push their whole thing. Crazy as y'all brothers don't see that. Read on.
To better understand how widespread these efforts are to ban critical race theory from U.S. classrooms, we did an assessment of anti-CRT state legislation. Here's what we found.
This is what Officer Matthew was saying earlier, that there was a map. So now we have another article that's going to talk about some of these states, and I can almost guarantee you that they are most assuredly probably red states. Go ahead.
9 states. Idaho.
That's Republican.
Oklahoma.
Damn sure.
Tennessee.
You best believe that.
Texas.
It's becoming more liberal. Read on.
Iowa.
Yep.
New Hampshire. South Carolina.
Arizona. Yep.
Arizona. And North Dakota.
So these are the states that they want to protect and preserve that good Christian white nucleus family that has free from any guilt or fragility that makes them feel any kind of way. Read on.
Have passed legislation. Arizona's legislation was overturned in November by the Arizona Supreme Court.
So, and that's what you're going to find out. It was overturned because at all levels of government, to include the last article about how they all walked out of the town meeting because of a black woman, because they're infiltrating even at the Supreme Court level. All levels of government, the LGBT is infiltrating. And there is a war between that white protection of life and that. But the Bible is the one thing they're going to agree on. We're going to stop that. Because the lies of the conservative right is that Jesus is white. Everything is white. It was our father. We're sorry, but don't judge me for that. And the left is, we're going to push this men with men, women with women. There's nothing you're going to do about it. Esau on the right's like, just keep that away from us good white folks. And guess what? You have the most outrageous, outlandish is the 12 tribes of Israel that are the poster child and the most out of sight when they crazy when they do that. You see, Jake, take it to the next level. Like, damn, man, you extra that. Even Esau that is like that, like, damn, these guys are just taking it. I know we are that, but these guys are just taking it to the next level. That's what Esau say about Jake. They even say that about you.
Cap, I have yet to find a straight black man in a commercial nowadays. Seems like every time they pan the camera to a black guy, he's doing something effeminate or sodomitish. Every single time, I'll be like looking at my rib like, that's the image that they promoting out here. That all these black men in these commercials is just sodomites, like all of them. It's crazy.
And guess what? You with a beard is toxic masculinity.
Right. Hey, that's why we brothers, what we do, you might not think that, when we come together and do these events, We stand together and we sing together in unity. We march in unity. We set up our camps in unity. We teach the word in unity. That we're not making a difference. We're making a difference. And the Lord is behind us. We have to keep the commandments and just keep pushing this thing, brothers. We got to keep pushing this. And sisters in the rear, taking care of the children, setting things up, helping with the community cleanups, helping out with various events. We got to keep pushing, working together as a nation. We got to keep pushing this. Did we get that article about the black girls? I wanted to just, and we run out of time already. It's already 11 o'clock. Damn. Let me see if I can see that.
I don't think it was a whole lot on that article. It looked like it stopped on that article and it sent a link to CNN.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Oh, y'all got it?
We almost done, y'all. We got a couple more things we're going to cover. When y'all get a chance, check those articles yourself. And if you want to know more about critical race theory, if you type in scholarly articles about critical race theory, there's a lot of PDFs online you can read. And you're going to find it. It was started to gather information in the 70s, and it was black men that was involved in that because they really had intentions to help our people. They have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. They're only gathering some of the victim history that we have, but there's so much more positions like David, okay, King David and the mighty men. We were in Solomon. That's all black rulership history. All of the history in the Dark Ages when we was in power, positions of power and dominance. All of that history needs to be talked about as well. Because when you have that, that's why Black Panther was so powerful. That's why a lot of black kids was crying their eyes out when they found out that Chad, what's my man named Chad? When he passed on, because they believed that dude really was Black Panther. They could see that's a hero. And now you see the new Black Panther, the women is the main one that's in the front light. Why didn't they take another brother and put Black Panther, his brother, something that comes to avenge and stand up for Wakanda? Why they do that, man? They do that because, again, it goes back to what you said. If you take the black man and take all the strength away from him and keep showing images of this, him being effeminate, him being powerless, him being that, you'll start to see that the new image they're putting forth is the power image they'll show you is a black man who's effeminate, who have a voice now. A black man that is laid with men, he'll have the voice in media. And that will be seen as the strength. That's why they can't stand the Israelites. Because we're going to show that these men up here, we have wives, children, and we keep beards on our face. We go to work. We do our job. We come and we ain't at the club. We're not getting tattoos and out there gallivanting. We're not doing none of that. You're going to find us in the house, okay? Taking care of our families, breaking the stereotypes that they put on black men in America, okay? And we standing up. We standing up for God's laws. And we're going to keep, it's like a broken record. You keep saying the same thing. Yep, we're going to keep saying the same thing over and over again. Because guess what? Dumbass Halloween is coming right around the corner. Dumb Christmas is coming right around the corner. So we're going to keep talking about this over and over again until Lord will Christ come back or Most High take us from this earth. What you was about to get from us, sorry. Yes.
The incident took place on July 9th around 6:50 p.m. on a southbound MTA bus in Queens when three girls and the victim, a 57-year-old white woman, got into a verbal dispute.
Right.
A NYPD spokesperson said one of the girls yelled, "I hate white people. I hate the way they talk," according to CNN affiliates WCBS TV. The woman was hit in the head with an unknown object, the release said, causing a laceration and bleeding.
So I wonder why three girls that, by the way, this go up to the time. So they was probably either coming home from school because the time was at the evening time. Scroll down a little bit. Not that, but it says the time.
6:50 p.m.
6:50. Maybe the ESO was getting out of work. That time they was probably, if they was girls, they was either coming from an extracurricular activity at school. And if it was in New York, the Mass Transit Authority, that means that they was riding either the subway or they was riding the bus. So three girls, okay, this like Officer Matthew said, there's so much more to it. What would make black girls just start talking like that? Okay, yeah, if you call them a nigger, or if you sit there and you say some disrespectful stuff to them, of course they're going to say we can't stand, because there's a history, because their grandmothers told them about all the evil that The grandmother of that 57-year-old woman participated, whether she wanted to admit it or not, to all the racist, overt racist, because the grandmother of that 57-year-old lived in the 20s. Okay, the grandmother of these girls was probably the same. It probably could have been their mother. This one, the 57-year-old. Read on.
3 girls ran away, and the woman was taken to the local hospital where she received 3 staples in her head. Then the release said.
Right. Notice that we're hearing the story of this lady, and these are children now, right? And well, where are their parents? Because they either get the story from the children. Where are their parents? Where is their representation to speak before them to get the story? Hey, why did you do this to this woman? Well, did you even do that to this woman? And what did she say to you? Where's the objectivity? Where is the narratives being for this white woman is a victim? She's being targeted of hate.
Gab, you know how there's more to the story? Because all buses got cameras on the inside. Some of them even have microphones. So we know they would see in the video on the camera who initiated it, right, and what happened. They would see it anyway. You know what I'm saying? They charged them 2 black girls with hate crimes immediately. But had that been 2 white guys on an old black lady, it was alleged.
Right.
It was alleged. Allegedly, they had a verbal dispute, and allegedly, right, someone hit the lady, and allegedly they ran away. And we've been allegedly's all through there. But with these black girls, they knew what they was doing.
Why didn't they say what Prudence did? Because, you know, Prudence, they slick out the mouth. Them old white women, they slick out the mouth.
They said they was in a dispute, but they only said what the black girl said.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. She could have let the N-word fly. She could have said a whole bunch of stuff. And them for black girls to talk like that against, usually black girls have some sort of, especially because they see her as Jesus anyways. For them to talk against a white woman, for a black girl that's 15, 16 to do that, they were provoked. And what I'm showing you is it's BS, but they're going to create more stories like this, and they're going to say that the Israelites are teaching this narrative of that to hurt white. We never say that to hurt. Matter of fact, if these girls are proven, and there is video proof that they did something like that, guess what? Throw the book at them, because you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't hit anybody, okay? Let alone they're or black for that matter. But we know that they're using this to try to do what? Hate crimes? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? All the hate crimes that was done to us, and then a lot of them are never even assigned a hate crime. So it's amazing. But y'all better be ready for what's coming. Read on.
NYPD released a photo of 3 black teenagers wanted in connection with the incident, and 2 of them, a 15 and 16-year-old, have been arrested and charged with hate crimes. Police are still.
Now, I'm sorry, Michael. Now, before you can read, and I don't know, I don't think they posted it here. You cannot post pictures of children. It says that they post a picture. They don't do that to white kids. And I don't know the law on that, but I believe there's a law. Someone could educate us to that. But these are minors. Okay, so read on.
Have been arrested and charged with hate crimes. Police are still searching for the 3rd girl. The Queens District Attorney's Office will ultimately decide what charges the teenagers will face.
Okay, so that was pretty much it on it. But we're going to end the show with a couple of things. I want to touch on article number, what is white guilt? Because it comes down to critical race theory not wanting to be taught because they're trying to protect, and they're using Martin Luther King Jr.'s quote, "Don't judge me by my skin," because they're saying that when you teach critical race theory, you're assigning all white people the value of being terrorists, the value of being evil, the value of being oppressors. Yes, that's exactly what you are. And all of your children, all of them. Because the Bible says, not us, the Bible says that. The soul that you have coveted feel and you've taken them by violence. And it's not like it was 4,000 years ago that this happened. In the 1970s, you were spitting on black children. Okay? And to this day, George Floyd just happened. You trying to tell me that them white boys that was on the crime was too scared of that dude? Hey, listen. Hey, Where's the morality then? And listen, man, take your friggin' knee off his neck. We got him in handcuffs. Where's that guy? Listen, stop, man. Where's that right? No. Okay? All them dudes that in New York City, I think it was New York City with Eric Garner. One of them white boys can say, listen, yo, we already got him in cuffs. This dude's big. Yo, we'll just wait till the paddy wagon. Just get him in. Stop. None of them did that. Where are all these moral white people when these things happen? Because none of them is good. The Bible says that. And guess what? Doesn't mean at our jobs, listen, just like you don't like me, that's fine. We keep it light. You talk about the weather, you talk whatever. I don't like you. You go home to yours, I go home to mine. But we can keep peace. But at the end of the day, the Bible has a judgment for what you've done to our people. And critical race theory or not, God gonna get the victory. He gonna use the prophets of the Lord, whether you like it or not. And guess what? The reason why I went into slavery, we can't blame you. We don't blame you. It's our fault. That's why you see what we're doing. We're rising up and we're taking care of our families. We're keeping the commandments, and the Lord is magnifying us. Not you, not what you. We don't need to ask your permission to talk about this. Okay? Read on. What is white guilt? We're going to run through this.
What is white guilt?
It's quick.
What is white guilt? White guilt describes the guilt brought upon by the recognition of unearned and unfair racial privileges, the acknowledgement of personal racist attitudes or behavior, and or sense of responsibility for others' racist attitudes or behavior.
The fact that there is actually opposition to critical race theory is all the proof that I need that shows that they have no idea. They don't feel white guilt. Okay, some of them do, and they might try to help, like the freedom riders that said that they were ready to die for black people, and some of them probably did do some nice things. It doesn't matter, because guess what? They wasn't doing all the things that they should have done. Okay, read on.
On one hand, this guilt can lead people to unlearn racist attitudes and fight against white supremacy. On the other hand, a person may disengage from the feelings of guilt and shame and become defensive.
And that's what happens all the time. That was so long ago. Why do you keep bringing up the past? I didn't do that to you. I didn't do that to your forefathers. Okay, judge me for who I am right here, right now. That garbage BS argument you damn demons give.
Hey, Cap, I got one article before we leave that it should give a nice sting on white guilt.
Yes, bring it forth.
After we do all of this, we can end the show with a nice sting on white guilt.
Let's cue that up. But now let's scroll down a little bit, because look, hey, here's the deal. White people that feel guilty, hey, we pray just like the Israelites prayed to the kings of that time. We pray for mercy. So look, white people that feel guilty and feel shamed and try to help us in this captivity, keep doing that. Great job. It don't change the fact what's going to happen to your forefathers. But the reality is, look, you should feel guilty. You should do something about it. Help clean up the police. Help us get the racist cops out. All that is good stuff that you're doing. It's not going to change your judgment. And you should feel guilty. You should feel ashamed of yourself, because your forefathers are the devil. They're evil. They steal. They lie. They take things that are not theirs. They steal history. They steal everything and call it their own, including the Bible in the image of God in Christ. Okay? What we got?
White guilt and the Holocaust. The term white guilt is frequently used in the context of racial divides between white and black people, but it also references with respect to the Holocaust.
That's why we on the street, nobody asks, but what about the Malaysians? What about the Arabs? But what do you mean the Chinese can't get in? Because there's the white guilt, because we are guilty. We want to include them because we've learned to pacify ourselves and to cater to them. It goes back to critical race theory is going in the front door. Hey, master, we compiled a lot of stuff about what you've done. Do you mind if we teach it? No. That's what it is. It's a bunch of BS. Okay? That's why the Israelites are so important. The Israelites are the last line of defense in this society. We're the last line of defense. All right, that's good. Get me the last one, and then Officer Matt has something. What is white fragility, and why is it a problem? White fragility. Why? What is it, and why is it a problem? And we always have too much. I guess that's a good thing. Now, what is white fragility? And again, you're never going to see what is Arab guilt, what is Chinese guilt, what is someone else, Japanese guilt, what is African guilt. It's white guilt and white fragility, because they can have that. That's a privilege. That's a white privilege to have white guilt. So meaning you've done all this, you've conquered, and now you're realizing, but the slaves, you know what, Roger, yes, we were kind of bad to them. And that is a privilege to be able to have that. We don't have that privilege. We're just trying to make it in this captivity. We're just trying to survive. I don't give a Oprah's trying to survive. Psychologically, she still deals with a bunch of stuff. All these black billionaires in these different circles, they still got to deal with that. Act like they free of all that because they got money. You still deal with the problems. Come on.
Everything you need to know about white fragility.
This is actually from the medical news today. So it's they're going to assign some psychological, and I guess it's mental and medically it's being reviewed. Come on.
White people in the United States have protection from racial stress. Engaging in conversations about racism may trigger a range of defensive actions, feelings, and behaviors such as anger, fear, and silence.
Why? Because they're ashamed. They know it's true, and they get cut to the core because they realize that the reason why they enjoy white privilege is because their forefathers stole, robbed, and manipulated entire nations of people for them to be able to say, yes. Come on.
Although white fragility is not racism, it may contribute to racism by dismissing white domination and racial conditioning. By developing racial stamina, white people can better address racism and strive to become anti-racist.
So I'm gonna tell you what happens, and this is what happened at camp. Even the white person that admits and feels shame and has white guilt, once you deal with them biblically and start showing them the judgment that's coming, every single one of them gets defensive, and then they start going and attack back, every single one of them. And if not, they're bubbling on the inside, and they just be quiet, and they can't take it, and they gotta get away. Every single one. It's a spiritual thing, Israel. You gotta realize that it's a spiritual thing. Read on.
This article defines white fragility and explains why it is a problem. What is white fragility?
Let's read about it.
White fragility refers to feelings of discomfort a white person experiences when they witness discussions around racial inequality and injustice.
Right. So fragility means that's a negative thing. Fragility means you're fragile. You'll break apart. That's why, let me just say this. The term cracker came from when he used to have this whip and he made the crack sound, right? That's the cracker. He's the one that whips your back. But right fragility also comes when you start pressing them and you get them alone and you start making them realize who they really are, and they ain't got a corner to back out of, they crumble. They crumble. They fall apart. But when they got 9 people and you the one there, of course they got numbers. And they can shut you down. That's why they can't stand before the Bible. They can't deal with the Bible. That's why they want to stop critical race theory, because that's the connection for us in the Bible. Then when you can stop that, the Bible doesn't come out. Okay, don't judge me for who my forefathers was. Now we're all one and the same. And they can continue to do their white privilege and their white dominance right in front of you. And guess what? You don't see them as evil anymore. You don't see them as the oppressors, because that was a past. Don't talk about it anymore. Judge me for who I am today, not back then. That was Thomas Jefferson. That was years ago. I never owned a slave. We drink coffee together all the time. Have I ever had you in slavery? Have I ever called you a nigger? Never. I would never call you. I got 3 black friends. You're one of them. So this is, I'm telling you, y'all got to see it. You got to see it. I thank the Lord that I have had a lot of very horrible experiences with them, because I've seen them in their face. A lot of you black people that grew up and around all black people and never been around them, you need to experience that to get your wake-up call.
Hey, Cap,
You know?
a really good visual of white fragility is when you watch Malcolm X.
Yes.
There's a scene when he was talking to the black scholar, and they were on television. He said, what do you call a black man with a BA or an MS or a PhD? He said, you call him a nigger. That's what the white man calls him, a nigger. You see the whole studio audience start to squirm like, oh my God, what's going on here? And that's white fragility. Because as soon as he said, yeah, this is what white people call you, no matter what you got in front of your name, they all got a little nervous.
Why would they get nervous if they didn't know it was true? Oh shit, he's Roger. He knows that's what they say to me. He knows what they say. That's why they don't surprise me. When I'm around them, I wait for it. And there go that little hidden code stuff. Yep, I see it. And then I like that. Because it's like you know when animals go and they spray stuff, right? It's like it's spiritual. It's like, yep, there's that evil. There's that talk. And then I realized, damn, I'm in the land of my enemy right now. And it's happening. It happened today. Happened today with me. I see you from a mile away. They act like they're righteous. They are so much deceivers. And you know what the other thing is? I feel bad for the whole race, because they talk about themselves when they're not there. They're the most uncivilized, phony people you ever gonna meet in your life. I'm just telling you from experience. Listen, I met a couple white guys that were kind of cool, play a little basketball with them. Hey, what's up, guy? But my point is, and I'm just being honest, just like they're honest with us. They're when they're comfortable around you, oh, that's just Shem. They'll talk about the other people they work with behind their back. They're not even loyal to themselves. That's why they fight wars against each other. Russia, a bunch of them, they're hypocrites. Okay, but God gave them the power. That's why they rule the world. Judges chapter 9:24. The wicked runs the earth. Let's read on, and we're gonna get off some map article. I know we're going over. Come on.
For example, people of color may find it difficult to speak to white people about white privilege and superiority. The white person may become defensive, and the person of color may feel obligated to confront the white person because we live in a white-dominated environment. White fragility differs from both white privilege and white supremacy. White privilege refers to the fact that white people have advantages in society that others do not. White supremacy is the belief that people with white skin are superior.
Triggers.
White fragility triggers. Racial stressors may cause a range of defensive behaviors and emotions. White people may act in certain ways when people of color discuss racism.
I was in a room one time. I'm telling you, man, it's true. I'm in a room. I'm in Hartford, Connecticut, and we in a school of all black and Hispanic kids. Most of the teachers is white there, right? And it shocked me. But damn, I thought it would be a lot more black and brown people. I was one of the only teachers that would walk around in the neighborhood. I walk into the store in a little bodega. I'm walking through, and the kids are like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm going to buy something to eat. What are you doing here?" Teachers don't come in this neighborhood. You drive into the garage, there's bars, the door's shut. It's created for them. I'm going to, these are my people. I'm going in the hood. I might get robbed. I don't care. My point is that this is the story. So we in the lunchroom, and there's one, I'm the regular teacher. Most of the black people were subs. We just talking about something that had nothing to do with none of them. Yo, these devils over there talking, and the whole table over there. Then they start talk. What are you guys talking? What's so funny over there? Like really, like they're concerned. And I'm like, what do you mean we talking? That is that white. They think that maybe we're over there talking about them. Listen, we just talking about our day and how whatever's going on in our day. It's that white guilt, that white fragility. I'm telling you, it was in that movie with Harpo in Color Purple. Remember that scene when the white woman goes, and she's driving in the car, and she gets all And they're looking like, what the hell is wrong with this lady? She had a panic attack, like, oh my God, these niggas are gonna kill me. But that's the way they are. That's why I'm telling you right now, if you ever want to, well, let me just say, you see these white people that's down, or you think they down, hey, come with me to the projects. You see how quick they shake the hell up. I'm talking about inner city project, hardcore. Shoot, I remember the first time I had to go with my brother. Yo, shut up, don't talk to nobody. Don't look at nobody, shut up. All right? Going at my business. You see that white, bring somebody in New York City, inner city, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Staten. Bring somebody there, bring them, they're going to fall apart. They fall apart because now they're in their element. They're out of their element. Now they're in an element where they don't control. Okay? Read on. And I ain't condoning the projects because there's a bunch of wicked ass niggas in the projects anyway, so. But evil asses, wolves. Come on.
Racial stressors may cause a range of defensive behaviors and emotions. White people may act in certain ways when people of color discuss racism. Their reactions may include anger, fear, guilt.
So now the fear is real. The guilt is real. Anger, what the hell do they have to be angry about? It's amazing. Read on.
Arguing, silence, leaving the stress-inducing situation.
And when I'm going to tell you another story. This was one of my favorite stories. So I'm in a class called the History of Caribbean Social Structure. It's in college. It's a black class with a black professor. There's like 4 or 5 of us. I'm the bright one in the front, and the other ones that probably smoke weed and cut class, they in the back don't say nothing. But I'm there as an adult. I got out of the military, and I'm sitting. I wanted to learn. So I'm a man in there. You ain't going to shut me up for the truth. And she started talking about the professor, he had to keep, He had to keep neutrality. So he was talking about the slave quarters, and I stopped him. I said, hold up. You telling me this is the conditions? And I could tell he's like, okay, he wanted to set me up to say something. So I started to go off. I'm like, in the way that they treated us, I said, used to give us the pig intestine. I said, it was evil as hell. It wasn't like this. And I started to speak the truth. The white lady in front of me turned around. She says, what she said? She said, you're taking this so personally. So you damn right, I'm paying for this class too. You don't like it, get the hell out of here. She got up and walked her damn demonic ass out the class. And I stood right there. I knew right, I'm telling you, when a black man stands up for something that he believes in, I'm telling you, they can't take it. That's why they want to shut you up. That's why they don't want you. That's why they show images of feminine black men. And that's why they don't want to have the father in the household. It's amazing to this day when I go in people's houses when I have a black couple. And I purposely go to the man and say, sir, is it okay? And I address him. And then it goes back to I go back to the man. I keep giving him respect. And I show him, brother, I respect you. And then eventually, you always go back and have to talk to her. And I look at him like, the hell is going on here? Take some friggin', grow some damn balls. I'm telling you, brother, it's an attack on us as men. They're attacking us. And we have to stand up. I'm telling you, and it goes back to this. You cannot be afraid to speak the truth. Don't be afraid. You keep the commandments, God going to protect you. And when it's your time to go, hey, listen, it is what it is. Like what Deacon A said on Friday night, we was talking about Stephen. When the Lord showed, the Most High showed Stephen. He showed him the heavens. He showed him. Listen, the Lord has something for us. All this oppression, all this stuff you go through, He has something for us that's better than this place. And we got to be willing to stand up for that. It ain't going to be violently. It's going to be through the word of the Lord and taking care of our families, doing the things we've been doing. And keep talking about it over and over again. Man, they talk about the same. You damn right. We talk about the same thing every day. Yes, righteousness. The Esau is the devil. This is what's going to happen. Okay? We finish that up, or is that done? All right, come on.
By behaving in this way, white people may prevent people of color from attempting to talk about racism with them.
That's what critical theory is at an administrative level. At a curriculum level across states, they trying to shut. And the people that are the people that write policy and education forums are highly educated. You couldn't be a high school dropout, trailer park Edomite and write policy. So these are the elite educated people that are writing this garbage, trying to shut you up. Okay? So they have their mouthpiece that speak for them. Okay? And that's why we are the prophets. We got to speak for our people. Some of our people agree with the Bible. They're too scared, or they don't feel that they have the courage to stand up. Like some people that have positions of power or positions of, they will help us. And we got to be the front pieces, the mouthpiece of God, to speak up and tell when we see evil like this here. Okay? Read on.
Different sources of racial stress that white people can experience may come from a person calling a person claiming that a white person's views are racist. A person of color talking about their racist experiences and perspectives. You see that?
So when you talk about your experience, that's why you're stupid if you talk about your struggles with white people around you. You're stupid. You're stupid. It's pointless. Because when you do that, it makes them fall apart. It's fragility. You can't do that. That was back then. I didn't do that to you. No, but you're going to pay for it because God says you are. We had to pay for the sins of our fathers, and we're still paying for it today. So guess what? God is not a man that he should lie. He said you reap what you sow. You never reaped what you sowed. And the Lord going to make sure of it. And that's why you want to take critical race theory out of the K through 12 structure, because it's a foundation for our people to come into this truth and make that historical connection to God. That's what you're doing, and it's going to fail. Read on.
A person of color not protecting a white person's feelings about racism. Hey,
here's a perfect example. The white woman, when the KKK claimant was going to court, the big, fat, obese, looking like she got 4 chins, jumped on the white man, threw her body, and protected him from getting beat the hell down. I'm not saying this. It's wrong to beat anybody. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is she was willing to get hit to defend her master. I'm telling you, only in America, only in this place. Finish this up. And by the way, you say, these guys are where are they getting this propaganda? Where are they getting all of this? We're reading the medical news today. We're reading, white people wrote this. This is the medical news article. Okay, read on.
A fellow white person not agreeing with another white person's perspectives on racism. A white person.
Right, and you're a nigger lover. But them same nigger lovers, they don't like niggers either. Okay, you press them too, and they're the same ones. Hey, on behalf of all white people, I apologize. You're the same ones, and then when you start, okay, let's have a conversation. You bring the scriptures out, and they want to disassociate themselves from the forefront. You can't do it. You can't escape. You can't escape. Read on.
A white person receiving feedback that their behavior or actions had a racist impact.
Right. And you know what the worst thing they don't like it is when other white people tell them about themselves. They can't stand that. But again, it goes back to the devil is telling the devil they the devil. Read on.
A white person being presented with a person of color in a position of leadership.
And that's why I brought that article, because it just goes to show you the pride of Esau. Now, there's agenda behind it, but the point is that they have the power to come together in one mind. We got a black manager, and she's going to try to bring in progressive views to my good white force. Oh, really? All resign. And that's that white fragility. Now, again, there's something behind it. It's all evil. The whole agenda is evil, because if that sister was in there with a dress and fringes and using like Esther did, that's a different story. And that's a different story. She ain't in there doing that. She is not in there doing that. And if I'm wrong, I will correct myself. But I'm very sure she's not pushing God's laws in that way, the Israelites. And if I'm wrong, hey, all praise, maybe the sister's doing that, but I doubt it. Anyways, Officer Matt, I know we're getting late. You had something with something you're gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna just punch white fragility in the face right quick. Get that Warren Buffett link.
Figuratively, we do not. We read the doggone. We are not a hate group, and we would never condone none of that. We're gonna figuratively destroy them.
Mortgage company owned by Warren Buffett fined with race discrimination against home buyers.
So they got fined for race discrimination. This was yesterday. Okay? So Warren Buffett, who Jay-Z looks up to and all of these other people look up to, he's an investment banking genius and he has all of these monies and he just so good with money. We look up to him when it comes to the dollar bill. His companies currently are practicing racial discrimination practices. Go ahead.
A Pennsylvania mortgage company owned by billionaire businessman Warren Buffett discriminated against potential black and Latino home buyers in Philadelphia, New Jersey, and Delaware, the Department of Justice said Wednesday, in what they are calling the second largest redlining settlement in history.
Warren Buffett was behind the second largest redlining scheme in history. This is today.
Tell them about redlining, because a lot of people might get that. You know,
redlining, part of redlining is they tell you what you're qualified for, and when you go into the mortgage company, they say, oh, you're qualified for this. So that means you can live over here, and you can live over here, and you can live over here. But white people that make just as much as you qualify for a lot more in a lot better areas. So redlining is you can only live in certain areas. You can only live in certain places. And off the bat, you don't know that because you don't know what they're looking at, but they know what they're looking at.
And quite literally, what they would do is, before they actually got caught, they would literally take a red marker in parts of the city and put it around. Literally, this is for white people. And then that's where the term comes from. Now, Officer Mapp is being more eloquent, and he's expanding upon, because all that's true. But they literally used to do that. And no blacks would go there and wouldn't even show you nothing over there. Even though you could have the same income potential, maybe you're a doctor, you make 6 figures, you have an 800 credit, it doesn't matter. This goes back to Oprah. She's in France. All they saw, they might have not known she was Oprah. Right? The only reason why they let her in is because that's Oprah. But they saw a black woman. She had glasses on, whatever, because she didn't want to be seen, and they gave her a hard time. You're a billionaire. You just another nigga.
Yep. That's all I wanted to point out, that currently a billionaire is behind mortgage companies that are practicing redlining discriminatory things in the housing departments. All right? So black people can't live where they want to live in 2022 because of redlining. They can't get the house that they really want to have or that they really qualify for in 2022 because of racial discrimination by billionaire white people. So if you want to sit there and say, oh, it's not me, I didn't do it, well then give up your house.
Right.
Give up your interest rate for your house that you got. Won't you give up the amount that you qualified for and give it to that people who actually deserve it?
Right. And here's the thing. Get Deuteronomy 20. We're going to end it with Deuteronomy 20, verse 48. The reality is that the Israelites, we don't want your permission. We understand who we are. We the sons and daughters of the slave trade. We are the Israelites. We were sent here to serve out our captivity and keep the commandments and the faith of Christ as the Israelites, and understand that I pray that the Lord put it on the spirit for my boss, for the people, the kings of this land, for Joe Biden, have mercy on our people. We pray that the Lord do all of that. But we know who they are. We have to go to them for everything. So we're not surprised when they do these things, and neither should you be. All right? Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
They are your enemies. That's why they don't want your history to be taught in the school. They call it a critical race theory, which is you asking the master, hey, I compiled the data from the 70s for you. Do you mind if we talk about it in front of you? And they're realizing it's starting to cause white fragility, and it's starting to give their children complexes, and we must protect that. That's why they quote Martin Luther King Jr. Don't judge me by my skin, but my content of my character. Well, your character for the last 500 years has been deplorable, immoral, horrible. So we think that you've just changed? You're crazy. Because the same people that Officer Matthew just brought up, those people that are doing that, they ain't black people. They're the sons and daughters of the people that threw eggs at your people that was going in the 60s and trying to go to the dogs and pour drinks on the lunch fountain. They're the same people. They're their grandfathers and grandmothers. Same people. They have not changed. God said they have a perpetual hatred for you. And that's why we understand that. That's why you sisters, listen, you have wonderful, nice hair, nice dark hair, brown hair, black hair. Why would you want to look like the woman that dogs your people out? Why? You brothers, I see a lot of brothers now with they rocking dreads and all that. They dye the tips or they bleach it. What's up with that, man? What you trying to, you think they're going to like you a little bit more? Is that what you're doing? Or are you doing it for black people? Read.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
And that's what we know that. Man, they are enemies in that. We've been, they're against us. Read on.
In hunger.
Come on.
And in thirst. And in nakedness.
Yep.
And in want of all things.
And want of, even just to get a right to have your history taught, man. You got to go to them, but not the Israelites. We know, listen, we are going to teach irregardless of what they say. We don't need to ask your permission. Now look, there's going to come a time when they're going to try to ban the Bible. That's the name of the show. They're going to make it a weapon to this society. And when it's hurting too many people, whether you're at the conservative right or the liberal left, the conservative right, critical race theory's got to stop. The conservative left, they use the black woman and the weak, effeminate black man to break down the fabric of the black family, the Latino family, called LGBTQ. You got to see what's going on. This is a real demonic thing we're dealing with. Come on, read on.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
And that's why to this day it's amazing where you have the black man will marry the woman whose grandfather oppressed and beat your grandfather. Go back 5 generations and they owned you. You forgot. The Bible makes you realize that this is who you are. And the messages, by the way, is not to take up arms, not to physically fight. As a matter of fact, listen, at your job, just show you, at your job, be civil, be cordial. Hey, they're cordial with you, be cordial with them, okay? Do the things you need to do. But understand, it's not going to change the prophecy and what's going to happen. It's not going to change that, okay? Be an upstanding guy at your job. And when you go to the bank, you be everywhere you go, be respectful, okay? Because our people that's not in the truth, they twerking, the grandmothers is twerking, they're fighting in Wendy's lines and McDonald's. They throwing cheeseburgers through drive-thrus and pulling people out of drive-thrus and doing, that's, when you don't got God's laws, the stress of racism in the society will make you do crazy stuff like that, okay? We got to be the centered, the rooted ones, okay? Read on.
That was it on that, Cap.
Okay, so with that, we went over by a half hour. Thank you for staying with us. Did you have more you wanted to bring out? Hey, y'all, listen. If you have any, shout out to the tech team. They did, for the most part, did a pretty good job. Y'all stay tuned. If you have ideas for the show, hey, in comments, write about it, okay? I haven't seen too many. I was looking at the comments. If you have ideas for shows, let us know. If it's something that y'all, enough of y'all want to hear, we could do a show on it. Y'all keep us in prayer. IUIC do a big thing. Shout out to all our brothers traveling, putting in work overseas, putting in work throughout the islands, putting work in all over. Y'all brothers keep pushing, and we have you in our thoughts and our prayers. So with that, we're about to take it home. We are your hosts, Mikhail.
Hey, look, if y'all want to donate to Precept Upon Precept or your local school, you can do so via PayPal at your local school's address, email address, or you can donate to Precept Upon Precept at IUIC. Dang, what is it?
IUIC.NewOrleans@IsraelUnite.org.
Thank you. I was about to give them the fundraising one. It's been a long night, y'all, long day. But look, if y'all want to donate to the Booster Club, y'all can do so at IUIC.fundraising@IsraelUnite.org.
So with that, Israel, long night. Thanks for 12:30 in New York. Thanks for hanging with us. Join us next week, another edition. And Lord's will, somebody got edified tonight. And like I said, y'all have something you want to get into, let us know. We'll research it. we'll get into it and we'll bring it out in the next show. All right, with that, we're your host, Precept and Precept. With that, we say shalom.
Shalom.